Hello and welcome to the ITSR Twisted Cup Series live here on MW Productions. Up in the broadcast booth with you tonight, as always, Michael Keaton, me, and Evan Pasoko as well. Tonight, it's Michigan International Speedway. And Evan, this is the Bo Schembechler Memorial brought to you by QuickCar 80. It's Michigan, 80 laps.
Yeah, we got to see a really good race here with the ITSR guys last Thursday, and that was their nationwide, the B car series. So we're going to get these guys out here in the A cars, the Cup cars. We're going to be seeing some pretty high speeds and hopefully some racing like we saw last Thursday night. Going to be a good race.
Absolutely, and if you take you back to last week at Pocono, Jose Gonzalez picked up the win. And Bobby Terrell would finish second. Stefan Marinac third, Nathan Little fourth, Scott Simley would finish fifth, LD Sarabia would finish sixth, Stephen Herring seventh, the first one a lap down, John Wilco would finish eighth, Frank Coons ninth, and CJ LaVere would have a disappointing finish in 10th spot. And by the way, folks, only four drivers would lead at least one or more lap. Matt LaCrosse, who finished 13th, led one lap, Wilco led three, Nathan Little led 8, and Jose Gonzalez, you betcha, led 57 of the 74 laps last week at Pocono. This week, Michigan coming into the point standings with that win last week, and 2 in a row, I mind you, for the season 2. Jose Gonzalez up 9 on Scott Simley. John Wilco's back, tied third, 12 points back with Stefan Marinac. LD Sarabia just sits 1 back from them, but 13 from the leader. Rounding out the top 5 in points, LD Sarabia.
Yeah, Bobby Terrell also sits 6th in the championship standings, only 20 points back, sitting on 1 top 5 finish so far this season. CJ LaVere is right behind him in the championship standings as well, 21 back. Tied with him is Edison Lima Jr. in the number 8 spot, Rich Jett sitting 9th, and Jay Horton in the 10th position. But again, we've only seen one winner in the second segment on the 2014 campaign here. That's Jose Gonzalez, sitting on 2 wins and 2 starts, so going to make it 3 for 3 tonight.
Yes, it's a possibility that he could make it 3 for 3, like you just mentioned. Now, he's on top of the bubble right now. Now, 16 drivers taking at least 1 lap of practice time. Currently, only 10 have qualified. Again, this is the QuickCar, the Bo Schembechler Memorial brought to you by QuickCar 80. It's 80 laps tonight at Michigan, and we're set for a good race tonight. This is the 2-mile racetrack. And it looks like Nathan Little and Ben Burnett have now started to creep their qualification rounds up.
An interesting note before we head down to the trackside for the opening ceremonies and whatnot. Jose Gonzalez reporting with his crew, and just got a word with him that he is having some trouble with his pedals, and actually the gas is the only way he's getting that to work is actually to use his brake pedal to get the acceleration to work on his car. So something to keep an eye on. However, he does currently sit on the provisional pole.
More things to follow in the starting lineup. As Evan mentioned, let's take you down trackside for all the festivities that take place before tonight's 80-lap race at Michigan.
New shoes, yeah, I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. Come running just as fast as they can. But every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Diamond ring, well, I ain't missing on a single thing. Conflicts, stick pin, ask about I'm gonna do you in. They come running just as fast as they can.
Hey, look here, beavers. You better hide your wives, hide your husband, and look here, both of you hide your kids, 'cause we're coming.
Every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Top coat, top hat, and I don't worry 'cause my wallet's fat. Black shades, black gloves, looking sharp, looking for love. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about a sharp dress man. Make some noise! Clean shirt, new shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about it. Thank you.
back live here on ITSR on MW Productions. And here we go. Starting lineup tonight, Jose Gonzalez was able to keep her in the number 1 spot. Bobby Terrell starts on the outside.
Take a look back at row number 2, third starting position, belonging to Stefan Marinak. It is number 24 car. Alongside him, the 68 of Scott Simley.
5th quickest in qualifying, the 66 of Brian Harvey, and the 21 machine of John Hickman Jr.
Take a look back to row number 4, number 7 spot going to belong to the number 37 to 37 of Ben Burnett. Alongside him on the right-hand side at 8, the number 3 of Scott Brotherton.
9th starting spot tonight, the 35 of Chad Chilling, and LD Sarabia makes up 10th.
Last car to take time is going to be Frank Coons in the 48, starting row 6 on the inside in the number 11 starting position. Alongside him, the number 4 of CJ LeVere in 12.
13th and 14th belong to the drivers of Rich Jett and the 41 machine of Nathan Little.
Douglas White in the 5 machine is going to be rolling off in 15th. Alongside him, John Wilcombe in the 62 going to roll up P16.
And the 17th starting spot tonight will be Stephen Herron. So we have 17 drivers set to take the field here tonight, as all 17 currently are lined up ready to take this green flag here tonight at Michigan, set for 80 laps, the Michigan International Speedway, as the pace car begins to roll off. Remember, Jose Gonzalez comes into tonight's race first in the point standings, and he's got 2 wins back to back. Tonight he could go for a 3-peat. We know the Miami Heat didn't. It could be a lackluster night for him as well, and he may lose his 3-peat status and give up the ghost to someone else. Bobby Terrell is a driver who has many claims to victory. Another driver we see week in, week out, Evan, is Stefan Marinak, on the point nearly every time in the top 5. Matt Lacrosse, another driver that strikes me as someone who can do some damage. Scott Simley, Harvey, these guys all up here in the top 5 currently, all strike me as a potential win, and even people in the back. I mean, it could be anybody's night. This is Michigan. It's the 2-mile racetrack, as the pace car leads them down 70 miles an hour into turn 3.
Yeah, definitely, and you talked about guys spread throughout the field that definitely have a shot, but even despite the fact that track position is really going to give these guys a little bit of an upper hand, especially the guys that you talked about, Terrell, Marinak, Simley, those guys starting on the front 2 rows, it's going to make them even more of a threat because they're going to have that track position. They're going to be starting nice and up front. Over in Michigan can be a very deceiving track. It can be very tricky, and a lot of the drivers are saying turn 4 can get pretty treacherous when you're trying to get back to the gas, especially if you're trying to chase someone down. Looking forward to a good one as the pace car leads him out of 4.
Absolutely. Pace car is about to drop down into the pit road area, and we will see green flag for the first time tonight here at Michigan in the ITSR Twisted Cup Series live Tuesday night. We are green flag racing as Jose Gonzalez takes us to it. Bobby Terrell with a slow start for him as he is dragged on the outside back to 4th.
Yeah, he nearly loses 2-3 spots there. The restart got caught sleeping on the outside lane. He's stuck at a high side. 68 of Scott Simley is on his inside, is going to complete the pass. Covered at turn number 2, and one covered the big run just behind these guys. Ben Burnett able to get around the 21 of John Hickman Jr. He's going to pull up to the back bumper of Terrell. Doesn't do anything with it quite yet. Going to take a look to the high side and 3. That may open up the door for the 21 down low.
Ben Burnett sneaking to the outside here, Evan, as he got wicked loose there. Thought he was going to lose it, able to save it. Matt Lacrosse actually coming out of the throttle a little bit to kind of help Ben Burnett keep that car ready. He did a fine job of saving it as he goes back into 1.
Yeah, that 37 looks fast at a high side, but again, he talked about it there. He got real loose at a corner number 4, got right up next to the wall, didn't hit it, but it could have been a possibility. Now he goes low almost to block the number 3 machine of Scott Brotherton. 21 machine of John Hickman Jr. has gotten around him, sits about 3-4 car lengths in front of the 37 machine. 37 was in front of him that last time by. You see the 3 on the inside. Scott Brotherton continued to try to work on Ben Burnett. He's going to clear him on the bottom lane and pick up that position, so that's going to drop the 37 to Ben Burnett from 6th to 8th in that lap. And a little bit of a battle just behind these guys. Also a 4 machine, that's CJ LeVere to the bottom, trying to make some work. He has to slide up, get out of the gas, and that is going to allow the 41 and 8th and Lowell to get around about a high side, just as the 37 of Ben Burnett tries to get a run on the 3.
And the top three guys have all separated out as now Ben Burnett looks under Scott Brotherton, and once more the 41 car and Chad Schilling's 35 machine is also in the mix 2 by 2 here as they come off a 4, 3 wide down the front stretch.
Michigan's got through them at straightaways, but it can get real tight despite how wide the corners are because of the way you got to drive it. The 4 of LeVere on the bottom, the 35 of Schilling in the middle. You can see CJ LeVere back out of it. He knows he want to be able to hang on to it down there. Obviously, you got to try to arc it into these corners a little bit, and because of the 4 being slow, that holds up the 11 a little bit. LD Sarabia has to get out of the gas, come out of turn number 2. That impedes his progress on a racetrack, and for a moment, these guys back here around the number 10 spot that have been battling since the drop of the green flag get an opportunity to catch their breath. Again, you mentioned the leaders have kind of broken away. Jose Gonzalez and Stefan Marinak up at the front of the pack have opened up a second gap on everybody else, and the distance between those two, first and second, right now is 0.38 seconds. Jose Gonzalez, pole sitter, sitting in the number 1 spot, and Stefan Marinak in the 24 trailing just behind him in second.
Folks, if you're just joining us, tonight's track, Michigan International Speedway, a track located in Brooklyn, not Brooklyn, New York, but Brooklyn, Michigan. Used to be called Michigan Speedway, and for some reason they wanted to go the MIS route and rename it to the Michigan International Speedway. Evan, as this is a D-shaped oval racetrack, length 2 miles. Both turns, both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are 18 degrees with a 12-degree banking on the start-finish and 5-degree banking on the backstretch. So never a spot where you're flat-footed unless you hit that pit road area, where we'll see these guys later tonight, possibly for a green flag pit stop. I noticed during practice a lot of these guys were able to get their cars around, trying to top speed it out, pretty decent. So that's always a good sign, as we're 6 laps into the books with one way off pace, and that's Frank Coons. I just said it. And the Frank Coons machine coming off a 4 gets wicked loose, comes through the pit road area, and that's not good.
He was able to slow it down, so he's going to be able to avoid a speeding penalty. However, since he's down there, just going to go to the pit stall and get a little bit of work done on the 40. He actually does slide through his pit stall, has to back up for it. So not what Frank Coons was looking for as he was riding around outside of the top 10. But you mentioned the drivers practicing their pit road entrance. Frank Coons made it look pretty easy for spinning down there. You try to get down there on the green flag run, getting that thing woed down from an access of 180 miles an hour on corner exit. It can be difficult, and it's not an uncommon sight to see speeding penalties at this racetrack, even guys locking them up and spinning them around into the inside wall down there on pit road because of the transition. Not one of the hardest pit roads at a NASCAR circus, these ovals, but definitely a very difficult one. And right now, battle for the lead. 24 dives low. Stefan Marinak capitalizing on a wiggle from Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez going to remain up at the top of the racetrack. Marinak goes to the apron, slides up in front of him at turn number 1, and we have a new leader on lap 9. Jose is going to get the first 8, but Stefan Marinak is going to go to the point.
And that will be your first lead change in 8 laps. It took about, or right at 8 laps at the line, Marinak would take over and lead this race now as Jose Gonzalez not too far behind, a half a car length still separate the two as they come off a 4. Stefan Marinak going to lead 2 in a row. Looking back further behind that is a pretty good battle. 68 car Scott Simley and the 21 of Matt Lacrosse. This is the battle for the top 5 position here at Michigan as we're now 9 laps into the mix. And John Higman Jr. actually, I say Matt Lacrosse, usually he drives that 21 machine. It looks like John Higman Jr. is in that car tonight. I wonder if that's a sub.
Could be, because again, 21 is synonymous with Matt Lacrosse. That's normally his number, but right now it is the Eaton Construction Ford of John Higman Jr., and he is trying to get up to 4th. I know you said that those two guys were battling for 5th. They capitalized on a run, or rather a lack thereof, of Bobby Terrell, and were able to close in on him. 21 to the apron this time by the start-finish line to take lap 11. That's going to put Higman in position 4. Terrell back to 5th, and Simley has to ride around in 6th, but he's on the back bumper of the 7.
Bad news for the 5 car of Douglas Wyatt. Coming off the 2, got a little tight, hit the outside wall, bounced down, and absolutely destroyed the car as he hit the inside wall on the backstretch. Douglas Wyatt, heavy damage as he's slowing now coming around the pit road here. No caution, still green flag racing as the leaders safely passing by. Oh, and Frank Coons sliding to the grass in front of the leaders on the front stretch.
Yeah, we talked about before the race that I mentioned that Jose Gonzalez told me that turn 4 very treacherous. That's the second time that we've seen that 48 car have trouble out of 4. This time he was able to avoid pit road, take a drive through the big front straightaway grass. He's still in the grass now, and he's going to leave it right down by the exit of pit road down in turn number 1. But Frank Coons only going to add insult to injury as he sits 2 laps down. The 5 machine of Douglas Wyatt, who spun on the back straightaway, was able to keep it off the wall for the most part. Got a little bit of front-end contact, but it was able to spin it away from a nose-first contact. The 5 machine appears to not have a lot of visual damage, but it did appear also that he was having a little bit of connection issues, a little bit of blinking before the incident, so he is off pace 1 lap down in 16.
Evan, the same exact thing that happened to Frank Coons happened to Bobby Terrell. Coming off of turn 4, nearly hit the inside pit wall area, coming through the grass, hits the hump at Michigan, goes over it, is okay, no caution, but he's losing tons of positions all the way back here to 13.
He hit that bump there right by the start-finish line in the grass, was able to get back on track at no damage, it appears, to the 7, but that shows you that it can happen to anybody. Turn 4 is very treacherous. Again, these drivers still not really accustomed to a different kind of race car, a different strategy that they have to approach with the current tire model on the iRacing service. Again, it's been over a month now that we've seen it, and it is always drivers at first were debating about setups, if it's just that, but it appears that the tire's just super loose on exit, which provides, I guess, more entertaining racing for us because we're going to see a lot more shuffling. I'm sure Bobby Terrell would like to find some more grip in a muscle milk Chevy, but he settles back in the number 12 position. Good news, he didn't get into the inside wall, didn't get stuck having to go all the way down that long pit road, so he does stay in relative contention. It is a long race, 84 laps on board, 2-mile racetrack, 168 miles will be the distance before it is all said and done, but Bobby Terrell drops back to 12th for the time being. And taking a look at his lap times, he is running pretty much on pace with what he was before. It's just going to take him a little bit longer to try to pick his way back up through this field to try to get back up to where he was before the spin.
Oh, yeah, I just realized 84 laps tonight. Snuck a few more laps in there. This is, again, the Bow Memorial, brought to you by QuickCar 80. Man, I've thrown in 4 more laps there at the end. 84 laps tonight at the 2-mile oval racetrack of Michigan. So far, we've been green flag to green flag. Douglas Wyatt is the only driver 1 lap down. Frank Coons is the second driver that is 4 laps down. So currently 15 drivers on the lead lap. You're watching MW Productions live coverage of the ITSR Twisted Cup Series. Stefan Marinac has taken the lead away from Jose Gonzalez about 6 to 7 laps ago, and he hasn't looked back since, although Gonzalez is still right there in rattlesnake striking distance. We're going to take our first commercial break. You're watching again ITSR Twisted Cup Series. Back live here under the green flag conditions of Michigan International Speedway, where the leaders have meanwhile checked out from the rest of the pack. Although, Evan, there are a few battles on the racetrack. Back here in 10th spot, LD Sarabia runs with Scott Brotherton hot in pursuit. Above that battle is a three-way one with Brian Harvey, Scott Simley, and Nathan Little. And that will be 6th, 5th, and 4th. And, of course, the front two guys out front leading, they're about one car length apart as well. Coming up on Douglas Wyatt, who's already 1 lap down. During the commercial break, Frank Coons took his car behind the garage area and climbed out of the vehicle and declined comment. So only 16 drivers are out there currently on the racetrack as we're 20 laps in, or 21 laps into the books.
Yeah, Frank Coons, his night was not going well. Already got himself a couple laps down, and at a track like Michigan, a lot of room with a smaller field per se. 17 cars that started this race, knowing that he had already lost a couple laps, decided to bring the 48 back to the garage, and he is effectively out of this race. He is no longer registered in the race, so he sits 11 laps down, will finish 17th. Everybody else is still on the lead lap, not necessarily up front, but everybody's still on the lead lap. 16th place, Douglas Wyatt is 1 lap down in the 5 car. We talked about the troubles that he's had. John Wilco is the last car on the lead lap. He is 33 seconds behind our race leaders, who are running 38-second lap times. So he is in relative risk of losing his lap. 2 cars that are very close together for 13th. Ben Burnett battling with the 98 of Stephen Herring. 98's going to go to the outside. Fakes to the outside, goes low. This is the battle for 13th. Both these cars about just over half a lap behind our race leaders. And Ben Burnett looks like he's going to get the advantage over the 98 of Stephen Herring as these two continue to battle. That is for position number 13. The top two really a lot closer than you might expect. Only a tenth of a second separate them. Over Jose Gonzalez is not shown in these most recent laps that he's in any sort of big hurry to get anywhere anytime soon. He continues to work the draft and ride around tucked up behind the 24 of Marinac.
And since Marinac had passed Gonzalez, Marinac did a good job of running him down and getting by him. But really, as far as getting out front, getting a distance, a gap between the two, he has not done so. And in fact, Gonzalez has had several chances to take that look. And I think he's pretty comfortable right now riding behind Marinac, as now John Higman Jr., folks, who could be, very well could be, subbing for Matt Lacrosse, is back here in 3rd spot. Now, looking at the point standings, there is no John Higman Jr. In the point standings in Season 2 in the Tuesday Night League. There is, however, a Matt Lacrosse with 2 starts. So I believe, I have not gotten word from race officials, but I believe that Matt Lacrosse has a sub-driver tonight, and it is John Higman Jr. in 3rd.
And that would be a welcome boost to the 21 camp if it is a substitute, and Matt uses the amount of substitutes as he's allowed to, and he can get some points out of this deal because he has not had the start of this second segment that he wants. He sits 15th in points and nearly already a race behind, 31 points back, tied with Brian Harvey for those 14th and 15th positions. No top 10s on the season with an average finish of 15th. So, assuming the 21 would be a substitute driver, John Higman Jr. has caught those top 2 that had checked out on the field by over a second. It's now a 3-car battle. 21 could be going up front.
How about that? The 21 car making it a three-way battle as Jose Gonzalez now looks up underneath leader Marinac coming off the corner 2. Here we go. 3-way battle for the lead with traffic just up ahead. That's the 62 of John Wilco as they enter turn 3. Side by side, the white wheel-rimmed Jose Gonzalez machine will take it. Marinac will fall back to 2nd. John Higman Jr. still 3rd.
24 around. Marinac always saves it. He got about 15 degrees sideways off the corner, went down to the grass, and miraculously gets it straight and actually gets back over the racetrack and is not forced to pedal it through the grass all the way down the straightaway. But again, that's what we talked about, the fact that Michigan can be deceiving. 24 was going to go for the crossover, tried to look low, and gave it that little bit extra, and you're riding on the edge at Michigan, but you don't know it. You think you can give it a little bit more grass, but you're right on the threshold, and the 24 ended up spinning it out like we've seen so many guys do before. Got on the brakes quick, kept it straight. However, he does drop back to the number 5 position, but very good recovery considering the challenges that some other drivers have had when they've been able to save it, but they had to take a long trip through the grass before they got back on track. Marinac crosses the stripe this time by in 6th, only 2 seconds back, so not a good scenario for the 24, but it could have been a lot worse. Good job.
Yeah, great save. As we look back here for the battle for 3rd and 4th, Brian Harvey and the 68 of Scott Simley and his machine there riding right behind him. There was a pit stop during the mix of that nearly wrecked by Marinac. CJ LeVere in his 4 car was down on pit road just a couple of laps ago. So that'll be an interesting situation if that is planned or unplanned. And I think that we're kind of young into this race. It would surprise me that the 4 car came down as early as he did here.
And these guys can make their pit stops, some are the range of 35 to 40 laps if they try to stretch it. Now again, not necessarily everyone's going to go that far, go the entire distance. So CJ LeVere and the number 4 machine knocking it out on lap 28, a relatively early pit stop for sure. So short pitting, possibly maybe a little bit of strategy that he's trying to play to gain some track position. The other machine 1 lap down in front of him is John Wilco. John Wilco has yet to pit. He was a driver that was in a contention or in the area of losing his lap, was the last car on the lead lap. Now the 37 comes down pit road. That's Ben Burnett. He's going to pit from the number 14 position as he drops a lap. He's going to come in on lap 31. So it appears that the green flag pit stop's going to be in full swing here in about a lap or two, as some of the guys towards the rear end of the lead lap and a couple guys a lap down have already come down to take service.
Another driver coming down to take service, Stefan Marinac, as well as John Higman Jr. Lap 32 will be completed this time as they pass through pit road speed at 35 miles an hour. So I guess they couldn't stretch it any further, Evan, and that's going to be crucial when it comes down to it, because this race being 84 laps long, it really makes them pit at least 2 more times.
Yeah, definitely 84 laps on the board, so it's going to be just a little bit too long to make it a one-stop race. So maybe that's why you see a couple of guys short pitting instead of setting themselves up for a scenario where you knock off somewhere in the range of 35, 40 laps in the first stint, and then the intervals between your second and third pit stops would be a little bit closer. Maybe CJ LeVere figuring this is going to be a green flag race, going to go green all the way possibly, and very well could do so with the amount of cars and how everybody's getting nice and spread out on the racetrack. Could be a possibility. He wants to come in a little bit earlier so that his pit stops more equally spaced out when it comes down to the end of the race. So who knows, but CJ LeVere sits 14th, and 12 cars are on the lead lap as we sit right now, but our leaders have yet to hit the pit lane. Jose Gonzalez still sits out there in the number 1 spot.
So far, yeah, Jose Gonzalez has yet to pit. The 66 car of Brian Harvey on pit road, currently in the 5th spot. Scott Brotherton still currently on the racetrack in 4th, Rich Jett 3rd. Scott Simley still running that 2nd position currently, and the Jose Gonzalez machine, as you mentioned, has not pitted yet. He could be trying to stretch this out to maybe this time by, and he does not pit. As I think I just heard him let off the throttle, I think he's trying to cut this race in half. He's not going to be able to do it. He's got to stretch it to lap at least 42. There's just no way he can get there.
But we have seen in the past a couple guys do this strategy. I'm pretty sure we've seen Jose do it in the past, where he'll get out there and he'll be going 20 miles off pace, but he's going to try to cut an entire pit stop out of the equation. Not uncommon to see Jose to try that. We've seen him try it in the past, but I just don't think you'd be able to stretch this fuel tank over that 40 lap marker into to get 42 laps and then 42 back to the checkered flag and be competitive. He does save himself a pit stop if he could successfully do that, But again, last time we saw him try this strategy, a caution kind of evaporated the end of the race, where he would have seen how those guys who made the extra pit stop, him avoiding one extra one with the tires. Obviously, they'd come in and get fresh tires. It would have been a close race. I forget which race it was in particular, but we have seen Jose try this in the past. That we said it wouldn't work that time. Who knows? Currently lap 37. He'd have to go at least 5 more laps. He's getting back up on the gas, not coming down this time by.
Still staying out here as they complete lap 37. Lap 37 of 84 has now been complete. We're going to step away, take a commercial break, but you're not going to miss a thing. Side by side live here on MW Productions, and of course Michael Woolley doing a fine job for us each and every night that we broadcast. We couldn't do it without him. Thumbs up. Hey, 2 thumbs up for me, and maybe a thumb or 2 thumbs up from Evan as we go to commercial.
In a world where survival is the only rule and feelings have no place, where winning is everything and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
Back live here, and as you saw under the commercial break, Jose Gonzalez has pitted, and Jose Gonzalez is currently being shown in 5th spot, as the leader currently is John Higman Jr. And John Higman Jr. is way out front. He just completed lap 42, and he's nearly hitting 211 miles an hour without the draft in turn 1 there going into the corner. Nathan Little currently 2nd spot, Scott Simley 3rd, and closing in fast is Stefan Marinac on Scott Simley coming off of corner 2. Gonzalez is right there with him, so the top 5 there at least within striking distance from each other.
Yeah, once you get the driver's 7th on back, then you get to the double-digit seconds. Bobby Terrell in the number 7 spot is 13 seconds back. Not too far behind him is C.J. Lavere, and that leads all the way back to the last car on the lead lap, the 35 of Chad Schilling. And the first car 1 lap down as we ride right now is the 98 of Stephen Herring. But John Higman Jr. to the point, the number 21 Eden Construction Ford Fusion. We talked about the strategy that C.J. Lavere was on, pitting a little bit earlier. John Higman Jr. did such that he came down somewhere, I believe it was lap 31 or 32 when I checked back. So a little bit of short pitting to, again, kind of balance out this race, divide it into almost 3 sections as opposed to trying to push it and then having your second and third pit stops be closer together. So he ran that strategy, short pitted about 5 or 7 laps before the rest of our leaders did, and it has him out at the point by about 3 seconds.
So currently, 12 drivers on the lead lap here, all the way back to where Chad Schilling runs. Look at the second place driver, Nathan Little, slipping back now. Stefan Marinac passing to the outside. Now he'll drift back up top as Scott Simley will get denied for now for third spot as Nathan Little holds on for now. Scott Simley struggling to hang on, coming off 4, wiggly, wiggly, wiggly.
Yeah, Simley would have had that spot going into 3, but he got sideways at a turn number 2 as well and nearly got passed by Jose Gonzalez. Looked like Jose cut him a break, and that's why when the 68 got up there to the slow 41 and Nathan Little, who had his problems of his own at a turn number 2, which caused him to lose the number 2 spot to Stefan Marinac, that the 68 was unable to get around him. Now the battle is for third. Nathan Little going to ride the high side, 26 to the bottom. Jose Gonzalez trying to enter the top 3. They're going to go side by side, door to door. 26 going to clear the 41 of Nathan Little. Nathan Little, no run coming off the corner, no chance of a crossover. And a 26 of Jose Gonzalez going to re-enter the top 3 after getting around Nathan Little. 41 going to drop back from second 2 laps ago. Now sits in the number 4 spot.
And while he continues to try to slip his way back up through the field, Jose Gonzalez currently being shown third. We're going to take a minute here to kind of run you through Season 2's lineup of racing, the race schedule. We got done with Dover a couple of weeks ago. First race of June kicked off at the Benny Lane Dover 130. Pocono Part Uno 74. And tonight we are here at the Schembechler Memorial, brought to you by QuickCar 80 at Michigan. Put a cork in it, 30 at Infineon Cup next Tuesday night. Greener grasses on the other side, 100 at Kentucky Speedway, July 1st. And then it's off to Paint One Up, presented by Hippie's Paint Shop and QuickCar as well, 7/8/2014. That's at Daytona for 74 laps. Fisher Cats Baseball 130 at Loudon, New Hampshire, coming to you on July 15th. The Shooting Bricks Pacers Brass Basketball 70. It could possibly be the new home of LeBron James as well, if anyone wants to chime in on that. That's 70 laps there. Pocono Part Dos, or Dos, 74. 2 Poconos in one season. How about that? Hold my beer and watch this, Bristol Night 150, and I'm not talking to my wife. That's going to be August 12th. Cruising the Glen. How about that? Cruising the Glen 30, the Watkins Glen Cup course. And last but not least, Lions football, a hope for a Super Bowl 80 back here at Michigan for 80 laps. And how about that? 2 Pocono races and 2, get ready for this, 2 road courses in a season.
You can't argue with that. And throw Daytona in there in the mix, in the middle, just for some fun.
Yeah, just for some 3-wide action, because the only 3-wide we're going to see at Watkins Glen or at Infineon is when they pile it up into turn 1 on the start.
The Infineon Cup course, that's going to be an adventure. How about Watkins Glen also, that 90-degree right-hander, as we all pile them in there on turn 1. That'll be interesting to see, and those races typically don't get cautions. I don't think they get cautions at all, even if you spin. So that's going to be races that could be dominated by some people, so we'll have to look at the stats and see who here can do those right turns just as effectively as the left ones. And possibly make some picks for those races coming up later on.
Chad Schilling coming off of turn 4. Oh, he's going to save it. He's going to spin it. He's going to save it. He's going to spin it. No caution. Man.
Started in turn 4, and it's going to end in turn number 1. He's able to hang on, nearly entered. Oh no, now he spins up across the track in turn 1. Caution. Chad Schilling had it saved, got back up, and was pretty much at the speed of what a restart would be and spun his tires. So I guess that could be a story going to be coming up, because we're going to have a restart because caution flag is out for the 35 machine, spinning right in front of Jose Gonzalez. Jose has to dive low and is able to avoid incident, but a very close call there. And the strategy call of the possibility of trying to make this race green flag to flag is going to come up short. We are past the halfway point, and we have actually closed into about 31, 32 laps to go. Caution flies lap 52 as John Higman Jr. leads at MIS.
And I believe that's going to throw a huge wrinkle, possibly at the last couple of laps, splash and go, as these guys will probably pit here, obviously, and that could do it for pitting. I know that some of these guys stretched it over, 38 to 40-something laps, so I believe we'll be good here if everyone pits.
And we will obviously anticipate so, because if they do, there's no worries about fuel strategy. It will make it a 2-stop race. Or actually, this will be their final stop, for that matter, and will be a 2-stop race. They've already made one. And again, we saw Jose Gonzalez stretch his fuel to 39 laps before he pitted, and I think we started to see the pit stops around lap 29 or so. So it's going to be less than 30 before we go green. John Higman Jr. down pit road. Marinak follows, and the rest of our leaders, everybody on the lead lap, going to head down pit road for repairs. Chad Schilling, Stephen Herring, all the cars that are 1 lap down or 2 laps down, going to stay out this time by because they have a little bit of extra fuel. Going to stay out, get a wave around, try to get one of their lap backs. But let's see how John Higman Jr. fares. He's going to be the first car into his pit stall. 6th last pit stall from the end after qualifying into the number 6 position. So this could play into Jose Gonzalez's favor for getting on pole position, having that number 1 pit stall down at the end. 4 tires appears for everybody. 21 and John Higman Jr. tries to get out going. He's going to be beat off by the 24 of Stefan Marinak. Going to be the first car off pit road with a blistering 4-tire stop. Marinak is going to be on the point.
There you have it. The winners off of pit road. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. That way we don't try to take one during the green flag condition. We'll just take one right here where things are somewhat slowed down to 65 miles an hour when we return the green flag at Michigan International Speedway. back live here where the pace car has just now come off of corner 2. We're going green this time by. Leader Stefan Marinak. John Higman Jr. currently running second. Third is Jose Gonzalez. Brian Harvey fourth. Rich Jett fifth. LD Sarabia sixth. Nathan Little is seventh. CJ Lavere eighth. Bobby Terrell ninth. Scott Simley rounding out your top 10. Stephen Herring 11th. And the last on the lead lap is the 35 Lucky Machine car of Chad Schilling in 12th.
I'm not too sure this is going to be that smooth of a restart. Again, keep in mind the drop of the initial green flag saw Bobby Terrell get blown out of the water, and I don't think he was caught sleeping. I think that he had to try to minimize that tire spin because we see a caution for Chad Schilling try to pin the gas right around the speed that we're going to be going back green at. Now, it was in turn 1, but I think this could be a little bit of a treacherous restart as Stefan Marinak's going to lead us back to the green.
Back to the green here as Stefan Marinak, as you mentioned, taking us to be an 8th spot with the 41 cars underneath him. And Scott Simley squeezes by underneath, as that seems to be the only battle currently as it exits off turn 2. Now all drivers, all cars, single file.
Looks like everybody does a pretty solid job of getting off of turn number 2 as these guys still get up to speed. Over 200 miles an hour on the warm-up lap coming off a restart down into turn number 3. These cars already back up now at full speed as they exit turn number 4. Contest for position number 3. Rich Jett in the 36 gets to the bumper of the 21 of John Higman Jr. Looks high, not there. 36 has to stay in line and watch John Higman Jr. right up in front of him. The 21 machine, that Ford, sail it off now down through turns 1 and 2 as that battle simmers down a little bit, about a couple car lengths. Going to separate those two now as they exit the corner. Close up front, though, Jose Gonzalez. It's a half a car length to the back bumper of Stefan Marinak. No challenge this time at a 3.
Coming off of turn 4 now. Marinak still with the lead. But you could throw literally a blanket over those two guys as they're about a car length and a half from each other. And then it's back here in third where John Higman Jr. has his hands full for the moment with the 36 car of Rich Jett. Rich Jett having a phenomenal race here tonight so far. Rich Jett's first race didn't do so hot in the series on season 2, but now after the last race he's up into the top 10 in point standings. In fact, 9th, and currently right now on the racetrack in 4th spot with a potential striking 3rd.
Yeah, Rich Jett continues to trail him. We have a couple of these battles of about 2 cars, but the guy in the back, the second car in line, is right there on the bumper, just does not have the run, the momentum that he needs to complete the pass. And even with that draft, that could even make the car a little bit aero tight going down into the corner, which could prevent that. So you almost got to try to lean on the hopes that the guy in front of you has a little bit of a slip up on corner exit, and that you're able to negotiate that turn a lot better. But there were 2 groups of 2, first and second, and then third and fourth, and right now it just turned into one big group of 4 cars as the 21 of John Higman Jr. works the draft to catch back up to the back bumper of Jose Gonzalez in second, and Jose is only about a car length off our race leader. So now the top 4 separated by less than 0.4 of a second. Brian Harvey in the 5th place machine is trying to close the gap as well, trying to make it a 5-car group.
And how about that? John Higman Jr. turning a 37.9, his fastest of the day, as he looks to try to claim either the 2nd or 1st spot, as Jose Gonzalez looking for the lead, coming off of the corner 4. Marinak still with it as Jose Gonzalez wiggles a little bit. LI on the 21 car and the 36 of Rich Jett to close the door as Rich Jett nearly gives John Higman Jr. a bump into turn 1.
21 is on the outside lane of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. He's got a nose there at the right rear, and now as we go out of turn number 2, 21 with a little bit of a wiggle, but he has to run off the high side on the corner, and he's going to use the draft of the 24 of Marinak. We are now door-to-door for second, down into turn number 3, 21 with the bobble, and Jose Gonzalez steals it right back, and it's actually going to hurt 21 more as he continues to try to find grip. 36, Rich Jett going to get around him. 66, Brian Harvey now side by side with him, and the Ford car of CJ Lavere nearly makes it 3 wide. So the risk versus reward is not going to go the way John Higman Jr. wanted, as opposed to saying in third he went to gain 1 spot and has just about lost 3 of them.
And a nice battle here with that 21 in LeVere. LeVere stuck it to the bottom, but John Hickman Jr. wouldn't be denied on the outside just yet as he still hangs on, coming off into turn 3, using the draft of Brian Harvey in front of him to counter up some sort of movement on that high side as LeVere now switches gears and goes up and beyond him. But now Bobby Terrell has put his 7-car machine into 7th spot as he's right there with the leaders, all 7 of them right here entering turn 1 together.
Yeah, this has really grown into a big group of cars, and that has to attribute back to the draft. It's not a lot. It's not like Talladega where you can get up on somebody, push, and check out on the field, but it is there because of the high speeds without the restrictor plates on these machines. You do have to work that draft, and that's why you'll see if one guy goes a little bit lower, the whole line of cars will slowly kind of shift down that direction. It's not because they're just bored down the straightaway. It's because it doesn't help them and affect them early. 4-car! CJ LeVere spinning down pit road. There's 2 concrete walls on his left and his right. He hit the one on the left. CJ LeVere into the wall on pit road. He's going to get a speeding penalty. He has damage now, and he's going to drop outside of the top 5. And he was one of the drivers that we knew could be one of the contenders to knock Jose Gonzalez off his 2-race win streak. And just like that, to the garage.
Oh, buddy, that is just devastating. As really he lost it all on his own. You know, I mean, that's just a tough break there for CJ LeVere coming into tonight's event. 7th in points, tied with Edison Lemon Jr., who's not here tonight, by the way. And not the way you want to end it. Not after a good run like that. But nevertheless, it's still green flag racing out here.
And CJ is going to be the 4th retiree. Frank Coons, Ben Burnett, Douglas Wyatt, 17th through 15th respectively, are the other 3 cars that have been out of this race. They are officially retired. CJ LeVere is going to be passed here once Scott Brotherton and John Wilco complete these laps. They are the only 2 cars not on the lead lap. Both of them sit 1 lap down, which will give CJ LeVere a finishing position of 14th after running again inside the top 5 with a shot at the lead, and at about, what was that, maybe 15 seconds, 10 seconds, he goes from top 5 to out of this race a DNF in 14th.
That's just tough. I know it. And, you know, he never hit the wall. He just got that huge speeding penalty, you know, and that's enough to, you got to drive down pit road. And then, you know, it's probably an excessive speeding penalty. You got to drive down pit road, and then you got to come out of pit road, get up to speed, come around and pit again as battle for the lead here as Gonzalez looks forward, and Marinac fighting hard on the outside here, but looks like Gonzalez, it's a touch.
And Jose's going to get into the outside wall. It looked like the 26 slid up just a little bit, initiated that little bit of contact, and that's going to drop Stefan Marinac from 2nd to 4th. So we know that 24 is not going to be very happy if he gets back up there to that number 1 car. Obviously not intentional contact, but it just costed him 4 spots and a lot of time on a racetrack. He's got to get back to work now. Laps are winding down as we approach 10 to go. Actually, that time by 16 laps remain.
So just like that, laps winding down. And Jose Gonzalez has reclaimed the lead, looking for a 3-peat tonight. Alabama couldn't do it. The Miami Heat couldn't do it. Jimmy Johnson couldn't do it. Can Jose Gonzalez beat all odds and do it? We'll have to, call Nike, find out?
I was at Nike today. Just throwing that out. Exactly. Well, I mean, this is, of course, assuming that he is still working with a gas pedal on the left-hand side and a brake on the right. I'd say he's doing pretty good.
Weird. That's gotta be weird.
That was the report at the beginning of the race, that he had some pedals that were messed up, and he was racing with the brake pedal as the throttle. and that's the way he had to qualify. He put it on the pole. I don't know if I could do that with that reversed like that, but if that is still the condition, even if it isn't, 26 doing pretty strong up front, but those guys in second and third, Rich Jett, John Hickman Jr., working the draft, they're right up there.
Wow. Gonzalez now starting to increase the lead a little bit as Rich Jett falls back just ever so slightly. And let's see, John Hickman Jr. right there. The top three drivers really within striking distance. You don't need a lot of striking distance here at Michigan as Gonzalez trying to break that draft. Look at that. Look at Gonzalez go down and try to break that draft from Rich Jett.
That's what we talked about, and you're going to see that on the last lap. And again, you're using the draft, but it's not quite like Dega. You don't want to be second on the last lap and have to step out of line. You want to make it work. 36 of Rich Jett, he's got a big run. He's going to actually get up behind Jose Gonzalez, rather. Rich Jett does that in the 36 because he knows that if he gets out front a little bit too early, so almost a little bit of super speedway strategy, you get out front a little bit too early, you're going to give those guys behind you a couple laps to set you up. So I think the 36, you see he works the draft, he gets the run, but he's not going to dive it down quite yet. He gets to the bumper and then stops. He's waiting and trying to time this pass. He's trying to set up Jose Gonzalez for this pass. Don't count out that 21 either. It's a 3-horse race as we close in 11 to go this time by.
Rich Jett looking to the outside of, closes the door. Denied for now as the laps are winding down. Next time by, 10 to go, Evan. Now here comes John Hickman Jr. He's going to sneak his nose up under the mix in his Ford car. Now he's going to have to get back in line. Those three drivers going down the backstretch into turn 3.
Yeah, these three cars remain with about 1-2 car lengths separating them evenly. Last time by 0.2 of a second was all that separated them. It looks like they're a little bit more spread out this time by. Scoring is going to update this time by the stripe, and it is going to be 0.3 that separate the top three. Still throw a blanket all over these guys. These guys pretty much pack racing at this point. They've opened up a 1.5 second lead over Bobby Terrell, and Bobby Terrell has a big group of his own. He's got Marinak right behind him, Brian Harvey right there, 68 Scott Simley, a 4-car battle from 4th on back, but obviously all eyes going to be on the battle for the lead. We got a contender for the number 2 spot. John Hickman Jr. tries low, unable to hang on to it. 36 Rich Jett going to maintain second for now, this time by the stripe. 26! Jose spins it from the number 1 spot at a turn number 4, and just like that, Jose Gonzalez sees a 3rd straight win slip away.
Wow. Looked like the air just...
quick.
Yeah, that quick. Looked like the air just snapped from behind him or something odd. As now look up in front of him, Brian Harvey now looking up under Marinak. So Marinak, with that little bit of right side damage after that incident, looks like he's done. But now the battle is for the lead up front, where Rich Jett is under fire by Eden Construction Ford car of John Hickman Jr. coming off turn 4. Less than 10 laps to go. Half a car length separates the two. Gonzalez, no three-peat tonight if it stays green.
Wow, again, just like CJ Lavere can't get over that. It looked like that Jose was going to be able to hang on. Rich Jett had a couple runs, but was waiting, and it looked like that Jose might have been able to slowly start to pull away. Now the draft would have worked for those guys, but it looked like Jose definitely was a contender for this, and just like that, he drops back to the number 7 spot. Good recovery, but out of contention for the win. The contention for the win has come for the 21er John Hickman Jr. He tried it twice when it was the battle for second. Now it's the battle for the lead, side by side, nose to nose at the line, as the 21er John Hickman Jr. to the apron on Rich Jett. He had the advantage that time by 1/100th of a second. Pushes the 36 up a little bit, and the 21 is going to go to the point. Do we see a crossover? Something from the 36. A huge run from Rich Jett at turn number 2. Does he get to the bumper? Does he go low? He's going to get to the bumper, try to set up that 21 on a different lap. Going to wait on it for now, but right now, Rich Jett drops to second, and a 21er John Hickman Jr. goes to the point in the closing laps.
closing the laps down here, Evan, as the leaders battling it out. John Higman Jr. to the lead into turn 1 here. 36 car, Rich Jett right behind him. He may give him a tap here. If that's the case, see ya. But no, he does not. Rich Jett can't quite get to the rear deck lid of John Higman Jr. as they go off into turn 1. 5 laps to go this time by.
And it is a 2-horse race. That battle for 4th on back that was led by Bobby Terrell, that was bumper to bumper about 4 cars deep, has started to separate just as they started to make headway on our race leaders. It's now 1.4 seconds, but they had closed it into about a second, but now they have spread out, and it looks like it is going to be a 2-horse race at this point. A caution will end the race. It'll be 4 to go this next time by the start-finish line. John Higman Jr., again, he sits out front right now, and he's going to be looking for his first win, and again, possibly subbing for the 21 of Matt Lacrosse could give that 21 team a boost, who currently has an average finish of 15th in these first 2 races. And then you got to take a look at Rich Jett, who sits second, 9th in the championship standings, only 1 top 10 and 2 outings so far, could give a big boost to his team, as well as he sits 23 points back. So both teams that have had rough starts are going to be running 1-2, and one team's going to really capitalize, walk away in victory lane here, unless something happens out of turn number 4. Don't want to jinx anything, but again, we've seen 2 strong contenders be out of this race in a blink of an eye, and nobody says that this race is done. And again, in these closing laps, you got to be careful. If you're Rich Jett, you might overdrive it right there, fishtailed it at a turn number 4. You can't give it that little bit extra. You think you can. Again, this track very deceiving. It's very wide. You think you can give it that little bit more gas off the corner, get back to the gas a little bit sooner. It's not going to work. You got to be very patient. You got to be very smart if you're the 36 of Rich Jett in these next 2 laps.
Oh boy. Rich Jett winding down his chances to win here tonight. Had a good run. John Higman Jr. currently in position to win this thing if he can just hold on to it. We've already seen Jose Gonzalez lost the lead with his near spin accident. It could happen to John Higman Jr. Don't want to put any kind of, what do you call it? Jinx on anybody. Bobby Terrell's in 3rd spot. How about that from a disappointing beginning of the race? Somehow or another he finds 3rd for now, as this time by will be white flag in the air for John Higman Jr.
One more circuit around. It is going to be for John Higman Jr. He has opened it up on the 36 of Rich Jett. It may be too little too late, as 0.4 of a second separate the top 2, now down into turns number 1 and 2. Again, the 36 of Rich Jett is going to be able to work the draft, but I think he just slid too far back, and John Higman Jr. is going to drive a 21 machine to victory lane at MIS as they go now down into turn number 3 and 4 for the 84th time here this evening at Michigan International Speedway through 3 and 4. Going to come up on off the corner, the 21 piloted by John Higman Jr. down the front straightaway to the stripe, the Schembechler Memorial 84 at Michigan to the 21 of John Higman Jr.
So John Higman Jr. wins at Michigan, our 2nd different winner in Season 2 in the ITSR Twisted Cup Series. A quick rundown of the top 5. John Higman Jr. once again, Rich Jett 2nd, Bobby Terrell 3rd, Brian Harvey 4th, Scott Simley will finish in 5th spot. With that said, the quick commercial break comes, then we come back, talk to the top 3 here at Michigan International Speedway, where Rich Jett had one slip away.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selections of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Central Ford.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of new or pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your new or pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
Back live here at Michigan International Speedway, where we just wrapped up race 3 in season 2, where John Higman Jr. wins. But for now, Evan Pasoko is caught up with the 2 drivers who finished 3rd and 2nd on pit road tonight.
And that's right, we're down here on pit road with Bobby Terrell first and foremost coming home in the number 3 spot. Bobby, you entered tonight 6th in the championship standings. Looked like you had a strong car, 2nd in practice, 2nd in qualifying, but just could not close the gap in that second group in those closing laps and come up just over a second short, and didn't really get a shot at the end there to do what you wanted to do, and that was get to victory lane. Walk us through your race. It had a very good green flag atmosphere to it, only 1 caution. How'd you navigate it, keep that number 7 up front, and what do you think was the difference that kept you out of that top 2 group in the battle for the win?
Well, for one, and I ran off the track twice and went through the grass on the front stretch. I started in 3rd gear, which I shouldn't have. Everybody passed me. I thought everybody else might too, but I was wrong, just to try to be safe. But like I said, I was battling and ran off the track and dropped back, and then I got caught up on a pit stop, gained some positions on that, and then I ran off the track again, and then that caution came out, and I was able to get my car fixed. So she was running good at the end. I sometimes wish there'd been like 10 more laps, and maybe I'd been up there battling with those guys, but it was a good win for John and good run for Rich.
And definitely, obviously, a 3rd place finish is strong, and it seemed to be that turn 4. You talked about it that twice you had some trouble out of there, and we saw a handful of incidents. The caution was caused from, or it started in turn number 4, the spin that ended in turn number 1, but we saw a handful of guys leave this race. We saw a couple of guys essentially lose this race. Jose Gonzalez spun for the number 1 spot late in the going. At turn number 4, what was the trouble there? Was it just kind of snappy loose on you guys there, or was it just trouble getting back to the gas? Because I know Jose touched on at the beginning of the race that turn 4 was the treacherous corner, calamity corner. What caused that tonight?
Well, I mean, I think the new tire model had a lot to do with it. It just no bite, off the corner, on the rear. It would just, and you could baby it, but if you put any input in the wheel at all, you were done for.
And definitely, for sure, so that obviously can affect a battle, especially if you try to give it a little bit more coming out of the corner and try to catch somebody, get in over your head, possibly lose the handle on it.
Yeah, I mean, it was so easy. I mean, it was such a fine line to get around 4. I didn't have any trouble in 1 and 2, but boy, 3 and 4 just gave me a fit all night. And like I said, I think it's a new tire model. I mean, it's just it's got no grip. It's real low, I guess, or side grip or something.
Yeah, definitely. It seems to be one of the topics that we've talked about the last couple weeks since the new tire model was instituted. Let's look forward to the next week real quick. We go to Infineon down in Sonoma, California. Left and right-hand turns. How confident are you there to get that number 7 machine in victory lane?
Well, I'm not a road guy, but hopefully I can get in the top 5. That's what I'll be shooting for.
All right, 10-4. Well, congrats on the top 3 finish. Any sponsors and shout-outs you want to thank?
I'd like to thank ITSR for putting this on, CJ and Steve for officiating, you guys up in the booth, MW Productions and Hippie's Paint Shop. Thanks a lot, guys.
Definitely, that is Bobby Terrell, your third place finisher, as he looks forward to next week's race, or regrets going there, but nonetheless, take a eye on Bobby Terrell next week when we head to Sonoma. Now caught up with our second place finisher, Rich Jett, was up there with our leader and just lost that draft, or dropped back a little bit too much too late. Comes home 0.8 of a second short. Rich, walk us through those last 10 laps from the point where you go from a 3-car battle to a 2-car battle after the leader spins, and what happened there in those closing laps that allowed that 21 to scoot away.
I was following Jose as best as I could, and he was, I was running my fastest lap times by about 1/10 and a half at the end there, and just keeping up with him just killed anything I had for any bit of late charge that I could have even possibly put on John, but he was getting to the turn so much better than me, and I was fairly smooth off of him, just hoping for a mistake, kind of like what Jose had, but didn't end that way. And just towards the end, I tried to do what he was doing in the turns, just pushing in so far, and that's where I lost all the time that I lost pretty much was from that.
Well, tonight is going to be your second top 10 in these 3 races in the second stint. Your first top 5 going to improve on your 9th place entry tonight in the championship standings. And it looks like your car may have improved over the night. I know you qualified in the 8th spot, or rather practice, finished 8th in practice, did not take a time in qualifying, started in 13th, able to come home second, a pretty good improvement, picking up 12 spots out there on the racetrack. How'd you navigate this car through 84 laps, keep it pointed the right direction to be there at the end?
Just steady and easy. I've in so many races at Michigan where I've pounded the wall off of coming off 2, and it just ruins the race. So I just kind of kept it off the wall, no incidents, and nice and easy, especially tippy-toeing through 3 and 4. It got pretty hairy a couple times. Even when I was slowing to dodge something, it seemed like I was going to spin out, but thankfully I didn't.
Definitely, that is the nature of Michigan. We're going to ask you also next week. We go some road course racing. We head out to Sonoma, California, the Infineon Cup circuit. We know that Bobby Terrell said that he wasn't really a road guy. How confident are you out there, and what do you expect out of that 36 team next week?
To stay on the track as best as I can. And Infineon I'm not greatly fond of. I like the Glen, Road America, all the other tracks, but Infineon I'm just not very good at for some reason. Wherever I finish is what I'll get, but I'm not really setting my hopes very high. Top 10 hopefully.
We know you improved in tonight's race and battled some hard conditions, so who knows where we'll see that 36 next week. Congrats on the top 2 finish. Sponsors, shout out to everyone to thank. The mic's all yours.
Thank ITSR, all the admins here, valorforvets.com. Blaney had that on his paint scheme a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd show it off here tonight. And thank John Wilco for painting that up for me. It looked really nice out there.
And definitely congrats on your second place finish. We look forward to see what you can do next week.
Thank you.
That's going to do it down here from Pit Road. Our third and second place finishers. Bobby Terrell comes home third. Rich Jett comes home in the number 2 spot. Keaton, I know it was a long walk from the broadcast booth here, a big tall grandstand on the front straightaway. We gave you some time to get down to the front straightaway. I believe you're in victory lane with our race winner, John Higman Jr.
Yeah, I'm actually using Wesley Atlin's Rascal tonight, so got down here pretty quick. John Higman Jr. winning tonight at MIS, formerly known as Michigan Speedway, with a new name change, Michigan International Speedway, but really that doesn't matter, John. Congratulations on your win.
Thanks, man. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I tell you, I made a guess that you were subbing for Matt Lacrosse tonight. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay, I kind of figured that. I was looking through the standings here, couldn't find your name out of the 2 starts in the 2 seasons, but I did see Matt Lacrosse. So I'm going to tell you something. If he doesn't know yet, he'll be one happy guy because you may have booted him up into the top 5 in points.
That's awesome. That's why I decided to drive for Matt tonight, just try to get him some points and the best finish possible, and it doesn't get much better than first.
Absolutely. Now, could we expect to see Mr. Lacrosse back next Tuesday night, or will you be filling in for that infamous racetrack, put a cork in it, 30 Infineon?
I believe he's going to be racing next week. I'm not really sure. If anybody else needs a sub for next week, they can just let me know. I like that track. It's pretty fun. It's a driver's track for sure.
I'll tell you what, if I had to drive that track, John, I'd probably get you to drive it for me. I cannot do the road courses, and of course, if you can't get a ride next week or not subbing for Matt, join us up in the broadcast booth for about 5 or 6 minutes and see how the race is going. You might need to bring some coffee with you.
All right, that sounds good.
Oh, John, but obviously, getting the work done for Matt Lacrosse tonight as he's off, and you got to be pretty happy about that. Coming in, apparently, not qualifying exactly into the top 5 there, but able to get a win, able to get it for Matt Lacrosse, get the work done, get the job done. You got to be happy with that once again. Anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Matt for giving the opportunity to drive his car tonight, and I'd like to thank the guys at ITSR for putting this thing on. It's fun, lengthy racing. They have multiple series. It's always a good time. You guys at MW Productions, you guys always do a good job too, broadcasting the races and all that. And I'd like to thank Eden Construction and Hippie's Paint Shop.
There you have it, folks. John Hickman Jr., sub-driver for Matt Lacrosse, getting it done here tonight at Michigan International Speedway. Next week, don't miss it. Put a cork in it. Infineon 30 laps. The infamous Infineon Cup Speedway, June 24th, 3 days after my birthday. It's a heck of a present. We'll see you next week. Me, Michael Keaton, Evan Pasoko, and Michael Woolley. We're done for now.